this week's Urban Legends, the internet podcast about urban legends and other such topics. It's a podcast that can be skeptical, but we're never cynical. My name's Chris Flynn, and with me, as always, is Mr.
Neil Herbert. How are we going, Chris?
Neil, I'm all right. I'm still looking for work. Do you know what? When we started this podcast, my dream was kind of we'd start at the bottom and we'd work our way up and get listeners and stuff. But then we kind of by now
to just slightly up for the bottom. It's quite good.
By now, kind of 3 years into it, getting on for, I was thinking I'll probably be able to quit work.
Yeah, you'll be retired by then, surely.
Because we'll start making a bit of money from the Patreon and from touring. Really, I was thinking.
Do you envisage all of this stuff?
By now, we'd probably be doing kind of like like art centres, that kind of thing, like in Tunbridge Wells.
We'd be well famous, surely. We'd be making religions after us.
I would have thought that we'd be getting guest spots on other podcasts by now, but actually,
did a few Hollywood movies.
But as is life, Neil, what's actually turned out to be the case is I'm jobless and we make no money out of the podcast. So it's not gone according to plan, but we live in hope.
Well, that just shows you've got to work twice as hard, get on our grind.
Well, we have been talking about doing it for a long time. We've been threatening for a long time to do a second podcast a week, haven't we? But still haven't settled on anything really. If the listeners have any ideas, please get in touch at legends.podcast@gmail.com. And please like and subscribe and blah and all that stuff.
Yeah, hit the bell, do the things.
Ring the bell when you make a sale.
Yeah.
That's it.
Eat the sandwich.
And, eat a sandwich when
tasty lunch.
When it's the lunchtime. Neil, did you see? It is, yeah. The
first person to think about putting me inside bread, obviously.
Yeah, I kind of don't think that's true.
I suspect,
because
sort of a fashion thing, wasn't it?
Very much the sort of Middle Eastern sort of pita bread with filling is kind of a sandwich, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, people have been eating bread for thousands of years, but he popularised the name, if nothing else.
Yeah, it's typical, isn't it?
And a fashion of people doing it at lunchtime. I think that was kind of like not so much.
Oh, was that?
Yeah, right. Well, I think he wanted to play. I don't know. I don't know what they were doing.
I don't know what that. Beating
the servants or something, but he didn't want to sit down to dinner. So he's like, "I'll just put something in between some bread." And then, in those days, anything like the royalty or some posh kids did, it was like, "Oh, brilliant! Let's start doing that."
The thing is, I can imagine that
the social ladder.
I imagine that poor people were doing that all the time already. But
necessity, yeah,
yeah. But just that's what they were doing.
He was working in Tut Mill and didn't have time for. Well, it's like Cornish pasties, isn't it?
Cornish pasty, yeah. It's
for taking down Tut Mill.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You're not meant to eat. The reason why it's got that hard crust bit is because that's your handle.
Yeah,
and on one bit it had your savoury, and then the other end it would have like apples and stuff as your pudding. Lovely apple and gravy. Did you see that Professor Peter?
150 years later, ginsters.
Did you see that with their monkey pies?
Yeah.
Did you see that Professor Peter Higgs died?
Yes, Higgs boson man. Yeah.
Where is your God particle now?
Yeah.
That's what I want to say at his funeral. So what's it all about now?
Nothing. It's just a bleak, howling void.
It's a bunch of stuff that happens.
Yeah. It's a bunch of particles bumping into each other.
I've been doing because I'm at work and that I've been adding strings to my bow, bow of fantastic business analyst, fantastic voice work actor,
nice,
fantastic cat parent, fantastic podcaster, and middling gym goer. So I've been learning my Spanish, trying to learn that through Duolingo. And doing my TEFL course, which is Teach English as a Foreign Language. And I think listeners will agree, it would be a real treat to learn English from someone with such rich tomes as I.
Yes, with excellent pronunciation.
Yes, I think so.
Tengo español?
Mi español es muy robótico.
Okay. The biblioteca is down the road. I can't remember. I did a little bit of Spanish once, but
you're more of a French guy, aren't you?
Petit peu.
But they're very similar, and so is Italian. They're basically interchangeable.
The trick, to be honest with you, is pronunciation. That's what you got to work on.
Loudness.
Yeah, or just pointing and being loud.
There's nothing wrong with pointing, right? I don't.
No,
you
no,
know,
no,
I'm trying to learn the language.
I think the thing, if you're going abroad,
smile on your Rick to smile on your face.
Yeah.
Got
your Crusader. You've got your nylon Crusader uniform on.
Got your I Shot JR t-shirt.
Yeah.
Got your bum bag,
large camera,
or fanny pack. Got that on.
Yeah.
Where you keep your traveller's checks.
Yeah, that's nice.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, and you've got like a cap on with the "I love whatever town you're in" that has the two clapping hands.
Yeah, or two beer cans with the straws that go down to the mouth.
Yeah, that's good. If you're in Southern Spain, they like that. Yeah. Got a nice pair of cargo shorts on. So you've got your pockets for your keys. You've got to keep your passport on you just in case the cleaners try and nick it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they would do as well.
Yeah, it would do. Dirty foreigners.
Yeah. Don't trust them.
Yeah, pair of I would say sandals, but these days they'd be sliders, I guess.
Oh,
and
nice.
Some
socks with those. Yeah, you know it.
Yeah, of course. Right. Some I would say so we'll call them socks, but they're kind of stockings. So I would say some knee-high Argyle.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's the stuff. That's the stuff.
That's nice, isn't it? And,
I can't believe I'm having to go at anyone else's dress then.
You're looking all right. What's that? John Bon Jovi, does that say? Joe Brown.
Yeah, John Bon Jovi, yeah.
Bon Jovi.
My love of New Jersey's finest troubadour, other than Springsteen, I guess.
You went to see him again, did you?
Yeah, I can't keep away.
Yeah, what was the best song?
Believe It or Not Prayer.
Oh, very good.
So that is one, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of his. Didn't he do
Six Gun Hero? Yeah, he did that. We did the Young Guns album, I think. Was it a whole album or a whole song? I can't remember. But he did the theme tune to Young Guns.
I'm going to correct you in both those, Neil. It was a movement.
Yeah, well, there you go.
It was a movement.
They were big, those movies, when they came out. They've just nothing.
Young
I think
Guns.
we talked before about Emilio Estevez. Not Emilio Estevez. What was that guy? What's the chap?
Michael J. Fox.
No, not Michael J. Fox. He's still quite fun. He wasn't. No, Lou Diamond Phillips. I always forget his name. Yeah.
Lou Diamond Phillips. Was he in it?
Well, he's not.
Did he play Native American yet again? Even though
undoubtedly, even though he's Mexican or whatever. I'm not sure he's Latino. I think. Not quite sure.
I quite like it. He's very watchable.
No, he is. He was good. I mean, they were all sort of. I think Kiefer Sutherland was in it. I feel like Martin Sheen must have been in it. But there was a load of them. They were kind of like
Aykroyd.
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd was probably in it, getting a blowjob from a ghost of Billy the Kid or whatever. Or no, he wouldn't have been a ghost in those days, would he?
No, it's an alien.
Yeah. He's getting a Hummer from an alien. Don't know why they put that scene in.
Drinking vodka out of a skull.
Yeah.
It's quite a bleak film, wasn't it?
It was weird. that turned into hardcore pornography with Dan Aykroyd. Was quite... I see Dan Aykroyd. I quite like him because he's genuinely quite unhinged in some ways, but more power to his own.
He's just a unique thinker.
He's got some. Yeah, he's a bit eccentric, shall we say? But
his family was spiritualists, weren't they?
Well,
so he's grown up with that kind of, like having a look sort of thing.
Yeah,
believing in
good luck
stuff.
to him for being open-minded. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of
exactly. Not like us.
No, but
it's like a locked box.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say some of it's evidently nonsense, but no, I mean, he's been behind a lot of very funny stuff in the 80s. So
like The Burbs.
Yeah.
You seeing that? I don't know.
No, I didn't like that, and that was Tom Hanks. I don't think
very funny.
No, I'll tell you what. I was watching that maybe.
I get the Burbs and Coneheads mixed up.
Oh, Coneheads, yeah, that was. I've not seen it, but that's fucking shocking rubbish. I'm sure.
That's all right.
The 10 minutes I saw. The whole joke. Oh no, there you go. No, the Burbs was the one where
that's
they
where you draw the line, is it?
They
were like murderers, or saying the family.
Well, no, this is the thing is because I thought the twist was going to be because basically some foreigners move in and everyone's like suspicious of them. It's like
they're aliens or something.
No, they're just filthy foreigners. The twist who are murderers or something. They find out they genuinely are bad people. But I thought the twist was going to be they get harassed by these kind of all American things, and then they'll get they find out they're just they've just got
you thought that in an 80s American film that was going to be the twist.
What I was hoping.
Do you think that in a 2024
I was hoping
Hollywood
Jesus was going
film
to come
that
down.
would be the twist?
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Oh, the dirty. No, it's always the dirty foreigners. Oh no, don't be. Then do you know
Kind of
what?
technically less of a twist, isn't it? Though it's like they suspected them all along, and it's
the
like, oh
bleeding
no,
heart liberal comes in and goes, "Oh, you can't do that. You're so prejudiced," and it goes, "Oh,
then gets proved
well,
wrong.
But, yeah, and the dirty commie gets proved wrong.
Yeah, ends
Then
up on a butcher's hook.
time.
While what's his face? Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Leatherface chops him to pieces. There you go. These are just desserts. You left twat.
So, speaking of lefty twats, Neil, what are we looking at today?
Right. Well, I don't know who he was, who wasn't, but we're looking at the Don Decker, the Rain Boy.
Don Decker.
Yeah, it sounds a bit
it?
like that bloke from Mad Men.
Yeah, Don
Draper.
Draper.
Yeah.
Or Sergeant Decker, who used to chase the A-Team around.
It was Colonel Decker, I think you'll find.
No, I bumped him down a few.
Oh, okay, but yeah.
Because he never
couldn't catch.
Because he couldn't catch the A-Team, yeah.
He didn't love it when the plan come together, did he?
He got his, sadly, he got his healthcare cut, and his wife, who had some terrible psoriasis, was no longer able to get her creams.
She hates it.
You see, we're all cheering on the A-Team, but we don't fall out. That's what I'm trying to point out.
Well, no, that's, you know.
That poor woman and her flaky arms.
Yeah, and there's Bear Baracus with many a chain. I feel like at the end of that series, they got a pardon or something, and then they were doing jobs for Decker. Did that happen, or have I made that up? I don't know. I haven't seen it since I was
maybe.
6.
Maybe.
Yeah. Doesn't matter, does it, Chris? The thing is, I'd go back and revisit it, but I think it would, be quite.
There's still. Do you know what? Like, if you go in,
have you seen one recently? Was it watchable?
Yeah,
and I go in with a very open mind.
It's watchable. Yeah. It's just a bit of fun.
I've seen Mr. T recently, and he hasn't disappointed me. Good lad.
No.
Yeah.
No,
my childhood hero. He's still
my childhood hero
holds
as well.
Up my estimation.
Yep.
Good luck to him. Yeah.
All of us poor working class white kids in the 80s in the UK had Mr. T as our hero.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we liked all of the. Because
we talked about him he came up last episode as well. Why are we so T-centric at the moment?
Oh yeah, you meant be somebody was we mentioned before, but it's just if you grew up at a certain period in time, then that was kind of like I'm sure like American kids, but we wanted to be B.A. Baracus, but probably a bit more akin to Howling Mad Murdoch or whatever.
Yeah,
was that his name?
Yeah, Howling Mad Murdoch. Yeah,
I mean, I think in actuality, I'd be like the guy who washes the van would be my role, but.
I think I've seen you with a notepaper and pen in your hand and some tight jeans, so I think you'd be like reporter Amy.
Yeah, that's entirely possible.
Don't mind if I do so.
Okay, we're gonna move on because I don't like where this is going. So, should we introduce today's?
I think you'd be like George Peppard, but how he was in real life.
Yeah. Was he a bit of a tit? I don't know.
He was an awful tit.
Well, I do know that on that show he kind of to be fair, he was a trained actor and he'd been in big movies, and what have you. So he kind of it wasn't his. He looked down on the role, etc. I mean, you never.
Well, it was a Mr. T vehicle, but George Peppard could never really kind of get past the fact that he wasn't the main star.
I mean, he was pretty big in it, and it's kind of like. And
he because of his ego. I remember him like Mr. T was talking about it because he just laughs about it because George Peppard was really horrible to him.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah, and he was going, and he would never speak to Mr. T directly. He would go to the director. Can you tell the man with the chains to please try and remember his lines? Mr. T would be like. Well, please tell Mr. Peppard, I'm trying my hardest. I might not be as great an actor as him, though. Sort of thing.
He wanted to go off and have his craft services, didn't he?
Maybe.
He'll do this scene 20 times because Mr. T hasn't learned his lines. I mean, to be fair, he'd really looked down on that in one of his videos.
But do you know that he had? Do you know, like your take because you are a Peppardian because you're a Peppardian man? You're taking his side here.
Well, no, your little role play there indicated that he had forgotten his lines. Anyway, whatever.
But that could have been once.
Yeah, maybe it's just
And George Peppard could be forgetting every other line.
He was out all night, looking after orphans or whatever.
Yeah, saving kids.
Saving kids from a firing building or something.
Yeah, probably.
Building.
A firing building. One of those buildings that with the guns.
Fire kids who are working into it now. Anyway, enough of this nonsense. Right.
So, George Decker.
Talking of the 80s.
Bill Decker.
Don Decker on.
Don Decker, the Rain Man.
So, normally I read a few articles on these subjects when I'm doing them.
Lie.
No, it's true. Literally, like on my phone 5 minutes before we start the podcast, but nonetheless. But I kind of like this, just looks genuinely a bit insane. So I've got one from unsolved.com gallery, Don Decker. And I'm just going to read it out. I don't know. I think he makes rain happen.
Maybe.
Seems to be the thing. The pictures here, it just kind of looks like condensation. So we should say, please, wants to open the window.
I have to breathe hard against the window to make the rain come.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good. It's just brilliant. Just wait half an hour while I breathe hard against this.
So the brief bit which I know about this, I think it goes further than that.
Okay, yeah.
So let's
find out. My batshit insanity radar just suddenly started going off, and I thought, no, I'm just going to explore this afresh with the listeners. So I have no idea going in. He seems to make water happen, and it says that in the first line: a man materializes streams of water out of thin air and defies gravity in front of 9 witnesses.
No,
but that's what we're playing with, listeners. Okay. I don't know you. And then they've got a picture of him here, Don Decker, the Rain Boy. And I think he's meant to be, so let's have a look. Yeah, he was 21 and he looks about 38 here. It's that classic kind of 80s. He looks like Ron Swanson.
Already.
He's not got a glorious moustache, but he's got that lovely kind of like helmet kind of haircut, of side parting. Got a kind of a gingham T-shirt or some sort of plaid kind of like shirt. Strong moustache, but it's not quite, Ron Swanson good.
It's a good blue collar look.
Yeah, it's a good look, But it's like, the past, people age differently. So, case details. February 24th, 1983. The funeral of James Kishore. Kishore's grandson, 21-year-old Don Decker of Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, was granted a furlough from the county jail to attend the funeral. Oh, okay, he's been a naughty boy then. 21 and he's already doing time. Doing hard time.
Well, I floated up to the second story. He floated up to the second story window, which was unlocked. Because he can defy gravity, can't he?
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? If you're in there, you might as well.
The police are after him and he calls a torrential downfall, causing several police vehicles to crash off the road.
So, Don was serving.
So far, it's like a shit storm from the X-Men.
What? So, like, still from the X-Men?
Huh?
So, like, still from the. I don't know. I don't rank.
He controls weather and can fly. Yeah. So,
and can electrocute toads.
He can
levitate out of those 90s movies.
He can levitate and create condensation. So,
it's fairly similar. I suppose she can be more powerful, but yeah, I don't know. Sorry, Storm fans. I didn't.
He's not an Omega mutant. Right, Neil. Don't even know your basic mutant classifications.
No,
do you know what? You've embarrassed yourself. This is. Do you know what?
What do you go and read 30 years of X-Men comics? Start with the Claremont ones. I do know that much, but
fuck's sake, Neil. What are we doing here?
My basic research. What? Sorry, no, I haven't. I've seen a few of the cartoons and those movies that they made. I saw the new ones as well. Thought it's worth.
Okay. All right, mate. Come on, back to Decker.
Yeah, all right. X-Men are another one we keep going on about for some reason. Anyway, Don was serving a 4 to 12 month sentence for receiving stolen property. Okay,
Not receiving it, though.
Yeah, he's still, a little bit dodgy, but, not violent or whatever. But no one at the funeral knew he had a dark secret.
Uh-oh.
Don's grandfather, the man he pretended to mourn, he murdered him. No, had physically abused him when he was 7 years old. Well, that's not nice, to say the least. Well, this has gone dark. This is the problem with not reading ahead.
I was going to say, probably should have read ahead.
Yeah, probably should have. Yeah, cool. Oh, great. It's a fucking grandfather.
By the end of this podcast, both of us and the listeners are going to be crying.
Yeah. Oh, shit. This took a turn. No other part of the family, well, give him more lenience on his jail sentence, then that's a horrible thing to happen. So no other part of the family knew anything about what happened, and it was like good fighting evil. The evil was gone, and I was hoping, everything would change. So yeah, incredibly traumatic experience. Well, things did change, but not in a way Don Decker could ever have imagined. After the funeral, he decided to spend the night with his friends, Bob and Jenny Kiefer. And that's when the
It's a
unexplained...
really lax prison. He was given a furlough from
was given a
prison.
furlough, so presumably he gets the weekend or something.
Oh, okay.
Presumably he's just demonstrated good behaviour. It's a short sentence, and with a brief.
Okay.
And they give him,
I thought it was like he was taken to the funeral, like in TV, and they get taken to the funeral by the screws.
You wouldn't expend that resource, would you? If he's in it, it's a non-violent crime, and he's going to be out in sort of a few months anyway. They probably agree, like he'll report into whatever, and then report back.
Yeah, all right.
And if you don't come back, then at the end of the day, you're going to get a longer sentence, so it's not worth.
That's all right. Well, you trust him. That's fine.
Yeah, that's how you lower recidivism in the real world, Chris. Basic psychology. Right. Anyway, after he decided to spend the night with his friends, Bob and Jenny Kiefer, that's when unexplained began to happen. And it was at the Kiefers' home that all the uneasy feelings stirred up at the funeral came back to haunt Don. Suddenly, he felt a deep chill. At almost the same time, water began to drip from the living room walls as Don said and fell into a strange trance-like state. The Kiefers notified the landlord, Ron Van Wy. I mean, I'm wondering now if this is just some
pipes of God
speculative fiction. Yeah. When Ron arrived, he was just as puzzled by the problem as the Kiefers. We decided maybe it was the plumbing, but there were no pumps in the pipes in the front end of the house to leak. There was basically nothing there that the water could have come from. After watching it for a while, I discovered it wasn't coming from the ceiling down, it was coming from the wall over or the floor up. There was no basic direction it was coming from. It could come from anywhere.
Mm.
Ron telephoned his wife, Romaine, and the police. Patrolman Richard Walbert arrived at the scene. Right, you were in for 12 months, and now you've made it rain in the living room, right?
Right,
10
that's
years.
That was your third strike, mate.
Third strike. You're in
You're
for
on
life.
death row now.
That was a stupid fucking law, wasn't it? Oh, you've inadvertently, you're homeless or whatever, and you've committed three crimes. Right, fine. Let's waste loads of money incarcerating you for the rest of your life for no good reason. No,
I don't know. They provide a fair bit of labour for quite a lot of companies.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. I mean, we haven't got time to go into the
prison industrial
prison complex. Yeah, exactly, and how much people are siphoning off of what's effectively yeah. And it's free labour. Anyway,
the only part of the amendments to the US Constitution around slavery, so it was banned and abolished in every instance, apart from prisoners.
Prisoners, yeah. And the fun fact is as well with a lot of them, because they can't afford proper legal counsel.
No, exactly.
Pressured to plead guilty even when they're not, because you'll get a short sentence. Oh, that's good justice. Anyway, so we didn't have time to get into that. Got a high horse.
We've got nothing but time. What are you talking
about? We've got this fascinating article to get through, Chris.
You'll get on with it then.
I'm trying to. Fucking one over there. At this point, he was telling me, I just want you to walk into the house. So they've called the police for some reason because of a plumbing accident. I don't get that. Anyway, Patrolman Richard Walbert arrived at the scene. At this point, he was telling me, I just want you to walk into the house. I said, I'm not walking into the house unless you explain to me what I'm walking into. I said, pulling my gun and emptying it into the doorway, just in case anyone.
An acorn fell near me.
He's when we're walking into. He says, "Trust me, just walk into the house. This would not happen in 2004, would it? Be a fucking Bradley tank just leveling the house at this point."
Exactly.
I walked in the door and he came in right behind me. Right, he's pulling out a pump action shotgun and blowing his head up.
No, I mean at this point, everyone involved in the house would be on the floor with zip ties behind their back before he would consider entering the house.
Yeah. No, in fairness, he's doing what a good sort of in a small town.
And a SWAT team would be there.
A police officer did and trying to give him assistance. But anyway, I couldn't get 2 steps inside the door.
Simpler times, Neil.
I was absolutely pelted. Yeah, that's true. Officer Walbert said that not only was it raining inside, but the water drops defied physics. We were standing just inside the front door and met this droplet of water travelling horizontally, like in a strong wind or something.
Yeah, a super soaker.
It passed between us and just travelled out into the next room. John Bajon, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but there you go, Bajon perhaps, Was another officer at the house that night. So there's a lot of police presence for this supernatural phenomena.
Quiet night.
I literally had a chill going up my spine.
Put in the overtime.
Yeah. Well, at this point, they were just ringing each other up. It's like, oh, bring beer and donuts. It's good there. Like Super Bowl, isn't it?
This is great.
A load of weather going on.
Have you got any of those strobe lights?
Yeah. Let's do a rave down there.
Yeah, let's get some Molly out.
And get some Molly.
Get some Molly out of the evidence locker.
Right. I literally had a chill going up my spine, made the hair stand up in your neck. That's how I felt. This was a situation where things were happening that I had never, ever dreamed could possibly happen. And there's no way of explaining what was going on. I mean, it's weird. It raining inside. I don't know if I'd be getting that excited, to be honest with you, but fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it would freak me out.
No, if it was all going in weird directions,
yeah.
like it was anti the laws of gravity, you'd be like, ooh.
At this
That's my
point,
best description of how you'd be.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Which obviously resolutely incurious. So at this point, the officers left the incident to the police. Oh, sorry, left to report the incident to the police chief. The Keefers and Don.
You gotta get down here,
Chief. I'm telling you, you gotta go and see what's going on.
The rain's going cuckoo.
You ain't seen a rainstorm in a house before. You're gonna use this precinct.
Never get involved with domestics.
The Keefers and Don walked across the street. So they've just popped out to get something to eat. Ron Van Wy and his wife remained at the house. They left and everyone else left too. The rain stopped. The house was normal. We're kind of thinking maybe it was coming from them. And we weren't sure at that time which one. They're great in the weather somehow. Pam Scrofano, there's a lot of good names in this article. Who opened the restaurant
all from Greece.
Yeah, who was at Keefer's house. I visited them early that day and had seen the rain firsthand. So everyone in the village apparently has been in to see this. Pam was convinced Don Decker, sitting in a restaurant with the Keepers, was possessed by an evil spirit.
Evil spirit of Neptune.
Yeah.
The most evil of the gods.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, how many people have died at sea, Chris?
It's got to be hundreds.
Yeah. Got to be, Anna.
Got to be, I would imagine, yeah.
Surely.
Oof.
Yeah.
How many people have died via trident? Got to be hundreds, isn't it?
Yeah, got to be. Bound to be.
I would have thought so.
What with gladiators and all?
Yeah, oh, blimey.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right. You looked
not for me, thanks. Would you have been a gladiator now?
Oh, yeah, give me a trident and that.
Yeah.
Stop me.
Because presumably, if we were in Rome, we would have been captured slaves from the British Isles.
I would imagine, yeah. I mean, probably. I would like to think it'd be more like up Pompeii.
Yeah.
We'd just be walking around going, you're Perlo.
Pompeii, salute, naughty. Pompeii. I haven't finished my prologue yet, darling.
Always a miserable pleader.
Little trick I picked up in the army.
Everyone Google up Pompeii and be thoroughly confused if you're not a British person in your 40s. What the fuck is this? It's genuinely hilarious to us, but it's
probably on YouTube.
You will probably, it's bound to be on YouTube, or there'll be some scenes. There's Frankie Howard, bless him.
He was good, Frankie Howard.
He was fucking genius. What's the thing? It's just, I mean, that's like a sitcom from the 70s, and you just realised it had no production value. So it's just him constantly pointing out how cheap the sets are and what all these load of bollocks and just
being sort of camp.
Yeah,
and he's sort of like clearly he's a gay man, but he's like meant to be like a womanizer.
Yeah, that was even big in the 70s. He's constantly after skirts, supposedly. Yeah.
It's good.
Good wholesome family fun.
Better than I Claudius, I'd say. More accurate.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, the sets were pretty similar.
So it was all filmed at the same pace.
Oh, yeah.
I Claudius in the morning, up Pompeii in the evening.
Yeah, Pompeii in the evening. Beautiful. They spent more on swanny whistles on that Pompeii then. Right, where were we? So they've gone to the restaurant. She looked at Donny.
Patrick Stewart's chagrin.
He was in I Claudius, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
With hair.
All had hair in those days, yeah.
Not this was a wig. I wouldn't call it full head hair.
It was compared to his.
It was already at the stage where every day it was taking a bit longer to wash his face.
Oh, fair enough.
Put it that way.
Yeah. No, it was still a bit of a shock to me when I first saw him in that. Yeah. It was only like 10 years before he was in that Star Trek thing.
No, it was more than that, wasn't it?
It can't be more than 50. It was 70s, wasn't it? That was like mid-80s.
No, it was 90s, Star Trek Next Generation. 93.
80s.
You carry on, I'll look it up.
You look it up then, mate. 10 to 15 years, I'm telling you. Right. You looked at Donny and he was like in a trance. He would look at you, but not knowing you were there. I said to Jeannie, he's got to be possessed. We're sitting there. A couple of seconds later, there's water all over the pizzeria too. I've never seen anything like that. I went into the cash register. I had a crucifix there. I took it out, put it on him. And the minute I put him on and touched his skin, he got burnt. There's no way that anyone could have played a joke like that. This was real. Donny was doing it himself. He was doing it without realising he was doing it.
Oh, no. Poor Donny. It was 1988, so you were right.
Yeah. A bit later than I realised. When was Claudius?
No, for fuck's sake. Get on with your story.
Yeah, okay. Even Don Decker began to believe that this is just plumbing new standards in lazy podcasting. Even Don Decker began to believe he was somehow responsible. The rain in the restaurant was the last straw. That made me sure that I had something to do with it because it was following me. And it didn't start raining into the house until I got there. They were living there and nothing had ever happened. And that's when I started realising that it was me.
76.
76. Yeah, okay, so 12 years. So within my time. There we go. Right.
Well done.
Back at the keeper's house, Romaine, the landlord's wife, confronted Don, accusing him of somehow causing all the trouble. Don Decker recalled, the pots and pans all over the stove started rattling. That's when I levitated off the floor. He's taking it to another level now.
Very good.
See, everyone thinks that
Well, the pots and pans
rattling fun, but when this happens for real, they're not having it, are they?
Well, that's all the pots and pans. That's obviously some kind of psychokinetic explosion going on in his mind.
Oh yeah, that's when I levitated off the floor. That's a good move.
Yeah,
I was just like floating. Sure, yeah,
I was just like floating.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's Then it was like a push. It wasn't like somebody taking their hand and pushing me. It was like feeling it all over your body at once. I'm a big guy, you know. I've always been assertive, and that made me feel like a newborn. You know, I'm scared right now. I'm just talking about it. Really, I don't know where these quotes are coming from, but anyway, a few hours after this. Well, they're from Don Decker, yeah, but I assume he's being interviewed after the, whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, just roll with the premise now. A few hours after the strange incident in the kitchen, Officers Bauhan and Walbert arrived with their chief. I'm going to call him Bauhan, just for one. Officer Bauhaus, yeah.
Yeah.
Describes what happened. When the chief got to the house, he was pelted with water just as Rich and I were. I got the impression that he was put on the spot, maybe a bit embarrassed, like we expected something out of him that he could answer. No way to explain what happened. I think he was put in a position where he might have felt a little bit uncomfortable.
Oh, don't want that.
Because he's expecting to have the answers. Like, well, what do we do, Chief? And he's like,
yeah. Well, and also he was probably going, fine, I'll come down, you crazy guys. But if you've been at the tractor fuel again, that's going to be your badge and your gun. And he goes down and splash. What?
What about this, Chief?
What about it?
So he announced the problem was a plumbing issue and ordered his officers to leave the Kiefer house. They were told not to file a report and not to even talk about the incident. But he just flat out denied it. Didn't happen. And then he tried to convince me that nothing had happened. And he wasn't going to do that. I saw it, and that's all there is to it. The next day, 3 officers ignored the orders of the police.
Who's pulling the chief's strings?
Yeah, he's getting paid by a big pipe leak, a big plum.
Big plumbing. Big aquifer.
The next 3 officers ignored the orders of the police chief. The next day, 3 officers ignored the orders of the police chief. They went to the Kiefer home to continue their investigation.
It's a detailed investigation.
One of the officers of Bill Davis, we're standing there and I gave Mr. Decker this gold cross to hold. Next thing he says, it's burning my hands. There's no explanation for it. You picked it up, you grabbed it. It's not hot. It's hot. And I held it.
Oh.
Don also once again levitated off the floor. Lieutenant John Rundle said he witnessed it. All of a sudden, he lifted up off the ground and flew across the room with a force as though a bus had hit him. There were 3 claw marks on the side of his neck, which drew blood.
This is getting a bit demonic, isn't it?
This is turning into, like an episode, not episode, what's it? The
Henfields?
Or the Henfields, yeah. Yeah, he's going to suddenly start spider crawling down the stairs. Or saying naughty things about people's mothers. I just drew a blank even today. Officer Bill Davis is also at a loss. I've been a cop 40 years and never seen like this ever. There's always an explanation when something happens. If you've got to investigate, you come up with something. This is what happened. For this case, there was no explanation.
Think of any, can you?
I mean, nothing's coming to mind. We'll speculate later on. Finally, on the 3rd night, Ron Van Wy, great name, by the way, Ron, asked the preacher to come to the house and try an exorcism. Yeah, should have stuck that for the off. Every Protestant minister and Catholic priest in Stroudsburg had turned Ron down. Ron Van Wy. As she started to pray, Donnie went into a convulsion. He started to shake. He pulled himself up into like a ball, and the longer she prayed, he started to relax them. Romaine Van Wy said she felt a change in the house. His whole body seemed to quieten completely down, and as you're standing there watching this, you could feel the house itself seemed to take on a totally different feeling.
I didn't know this was going down the religious route.
Turns it is going to, yeah. So Ron Van Wy, and by the time she got done praying, the water was gone, and that was the last we saw any water at the house at all, which is unfortunate because we needed to use the toilet quite a lot after that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I built this ark for fuck all.
Yeah. I assume they mean mysterious devil water.
No, all of it.
Yeah.
All the plants were dead. Yeah.
The mysterious rain was gone, and Don Decker appeared to return to his old self, but the change was only temporary. After his furlough, Don returned to jail. Within a few days, the mysterious rain returned, this time in the jail. That'd be a fun trick and stuff.
Following him around.
They put me in a maximum security cell. I was in there with another inmate, and I was thinking I should make it rain in here. And all of a sudden, water started coming out the concrete floor. At that point, I thought, I can do stuff.
All right.
Next stop, Carnival. Let's join the circus. According to Don, he now realised he could control the rain at will. A sceptical guard challenged him to make it rain in Warden Dave Keenhold's office. Warden Keenhold recalled, I was sitting at my desk writing a report. I was all by myself in the admin area. Nobody else was around. Approximately 8 o'clock in the evening. At that time, I didn't feel anything, but my shirt was drooping down. An officer entered and told Warden Keenhold to look at his shirt. And right about the centre of my sternum, about 4 inches long, 2 inches wide, I was just saturated with water. I was startled. I was scared. The officer was frightened at that particular time. I just don't have an explanation what happened. You feel that, surely?
Weird, isn't it?
Just somebody points out, it's like, oh yeah, my back's soaking.
Where is this, though?
So he's put back in prison now.
Oh, where's he? Oh, no, he's not. He's up in...
A guard bet him that he...
no, but he was in, like, Philadelphia or something, wasn't he?
Oh, hang on a sec.
So I was thinking if it was, like, somewhere really
Pennsylvania.
hot. Pennsylvania, yeah. So it's not like a hot state. So it's not like he was already drenched in sweat.
No. Well, it might have been summer, who knows? But anyway,
I thought it was just my sores oozing again.
Yeah.
Hey, if they're oozing, it means they're healing.
Exactly. The warden called in the Reverend William Blackburn. All of a sudden, I received this frantic call from a sergeant in the jail. And he said, could you come over? We need you. We need your help. So he brought in this very meek and mild-mannered young man into the room, and he was asking for my help.
Hello.
Don told the Reverend, hello, Don. Don told the Reverend that he could make it rain and crosses placed on his body burn. According to the Reverend Blackburn, he told Don to admit he was just making things up. Then, all of a sudden, his demeanour changed, and this
You're just making things up, boy.
And this smell came into the room. Is it a nice smell? Who knows?
Nurses
and doctors. Oh, here we go. Nurses and doctors, medical people say when you walk into a room when someone is dying with cancer or something, usually there's a smell. You can tell when you walk into the room.
With candy floss.
I smelled a smell like that. Yeah, it's like lovely perfume.
It's nice, yeah. That's why I'm always hanging around the hospice.
The hospital. Multiplied 5 times.
I'm taking really deep breaths in.
So he smelled a smell like that, multiplied 5 times at least. Evil, foreboding. He raised his hand and rubbed his fingers together. Then all of a sudden it started to rain. This was like the devil's rain. It was a mist. I was in the presence of evil. I opened up the Bibles.
Mist isn't the devil's. That's just...
No.
I mean, we live on the coast. We get mist.
Plenty of mist.
Not so much anymore. Weird.
Yeah. Well, I barely worship Satan anymore these days, Chris.
Really?
You know,
who are you worshipping now?
I'm more into nature spirits.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. They're fun and chaotic and free, but you know, there's less of this pack of the devil nonsense.
Exactly.
He's a clingy one. Do you know what I mean? I would say.
Yeah, he is.
He won't let go.
No, you know,
sign your soul over to me for eternity. No, I'll tell you what.
We had our fun.
Got a few dates. Let's see how it pans out. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bit. I believe.
What's wrong with me?
I believe they call it love bombing these days. He's always saying, "Oh, you're brilliant. You are. You could be
ghosting me." Yeah, well, you just getting a bit fucking clingy, mate. Just calm it down.
Oh, I'm trying to take a piss. Why have you turned up in my toilet?
Yeah.
You've changed your number, haven't you? Yes, I have changed my number because of things like this.
Shit like this, yeah.
I love you, I do. I'm going to have to pretend I didn't hear that saying.
That's something you need to work on yourself for a bit, all right? Stop projecting on me.
Preferably as far away from here as possible.
Right, anyway. So he read the Bible and prayed over him and all that jazz. And then he noticed a sudden change in Don.
It is a kind of jazz, isn't it? Religion.
Yeah.
Got to listen to the prayers they're not doing.
Yeah, it's not the prejudice.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, a lot of people sort of make a lot of it up on the spot.
Completely.
See what they want them to be. Their own interpretation.
Yeah. All the prophets were on heroin.
Yeah. So Reverend Blackburn said he noticed a sudden change in Don as well. He subsided and you could feel a peace. He said, thank you. He'd got tears in his eyes. We hugged and prayed together.
Oh, no, now his eyes are watering. Yeah. Take the eyes.
This hasn't ended in the most disappointing way possible. So he was possessed. There was no doubt in my mind. There's no way a human could do what he did in that room. There's no way he did anything but what was spiritual. And it wasn't of God. Guaranteed it was not of God.
Can't guarantee that.
A, you can't guarantee that. And B, God's done some dodgy shit if you ever read the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah, like killing all humans apart from like 3 of them. That was
Sodom and Gomorrah. It's like, well, just raise those entire towns. Don't know what they're getting up to.
Yeah, the Old Testament.
I mean, when I say freedom of choice, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
unless it pisses me off.
Yeah, I don't mean it.
Yeah.
You know, I say it because I have to.
Shut the fuck up and get praying.
I say it because I have to, right? There's laws about it, but we know that I don't mean it. So, and you know that, so I don't know why you're pushing this.
That's the thing, though. I'll tell you what, the thing about Old Testament God, he got shit done. You know, he was a bit of a micromanager, but, you know, he made it clear where he stood. It was normally in his bad books.
Yeah, he always in his bad books.
Yeah.
It's because he was Yahweh, wasn't he? He was the Jewish god of war before they became monotheistic.
Yeah. So Don Decker said that he feels like the bizarre occurrences won't happen again. Well, it's all over. It hasn't happened again. And basically, I'm hoping it never will. And I just, go day to day. As for my grandfather, I think what happened was his doing, because he abused me when I was young, and he got a chance to abuse me again. But Chip Decker, no relation to Don, and Peter Jordan are the main paranormal researchers on this case. Chip was impressed with the eyewitness accounts.
That's a name, isn't it?
I mean, there's so many great names in this.
Chip Decker.
I want a Chet Alabama as well or something, but I think what makes this case very unique is all the witnesses are so credible. We're dealing with very good, well-seasoned police officers that were obviously rather frightened and shaken by this, but also had the powers of observation. Peter Jordan, the Donald Decker case is by far the singularly most fascinating and important case I've ever been personally involved in. That does not mean I necessarily believe it's proof positive of demonic infestation, but it is the case, in my own personal experience up to this point, that comes closest to that hypothesis. In all, 9 eyewitnesses, plus Don himself, were willing to go on record saying they saw, heard, and felt phenomena apparently not of this world, and they continue to believe Don was possessed by the devil. They have found no other explanation for the bizarre events. And on the comments 49, the first one is Mickey Knox, who says Don Decker is the Antichrist. Bit harsh.
Well, yeah, it's probably harsh. I mean, like, if the Antichrist powers are making it rain, not in a strip club way, and
making crosses hurt,
making it smell, and hurting himself with crosses, then I don't think we've got a lot to worry about, to be honest.
So Lisa says, 2023, where's Don Decker today? It's hard to believe the government never took him in for study. Really sounds like poltergeist activity given the history of abuse. I didn't know that poltergeist like me anyway, whatever. And then Phil replies, he's 11 on Stranger Things.
What?
It's the little girl from Stranger Things who had the psychic powers.
Oh, right, yeah.
Someone else says he opened a car wash.
Open a sauna. He's a lifeguard now. Opened a exotic fish shop.
So it's a cool story, but even after doing some research, it seems very possible the water dripping everywhere was caused by ice damming. Still a cool local ghost story. How is that happening in
so many different locations?
I don't think it is. So I'm just going to do a quick, see if somebody's debunked it by the fact actually they were all psychotic or something. CIA was pumping like hallucinogenic gas into the town or whatever at the time. Completely unrelated.
Devouring ergot. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because there's a lot of apparent witnesses
Well, I mean, yeah, you've got a load of police. I mean, it's weird to me that they called the police in because it's like, it's raining in my house. Come, you know.
Well, I guess if you didn't know what to do
And that's good
and
service
you
as
trusted
well.
the police,
Well,
again,
I've told you
different
this one
times
before.
can't go back. But
Well, no, I've told you this one before, but me and a friend were out and we saw some kids stealing someone's bike, chased after them, and then they pegged it. So we didn't want, we didn't know like whose bike it was or exactly where to take it back. So we rang the police, waited out there for the best part of an hour. Never turned up.
But this is
good service
but this isn't the hustle and bustle of Port Slade now.
That's true.
Third biggest city in the world. This is
Third, more like
as it grown again.
I suppose New York and London, but yeah.
No, they're not bigger. More like Tokyo. But this is small town America, isn't it? Where they probably knew the sheriffs and that, and it's all apple pie and baseball and white picket fences.
It's entirely possible, yeah.
And most beautiful baby.
So there's a paranormal researcher who's skeptical about it because nobody took pictures.
Wow.
It's a fair point, I suppose.
Well, they couldn't have because of all the rain.
Yeah, it did. Cameras melted.
Yeah, ruined the film.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know because people didn't necessarily, because people, like, this is a while back, right? And people didn't necessarily all have a camera in their home, right? Because they're quite expensive and it's a faff, you have to take the film.
But police have literally got the police chief down and everything else.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have necessarily thought pick up a camera. Like, that isn't
you would if there's a load of really mad shit happening.
Yeah, but I don't think the police chief thought it was real. I think he thought they'd been sipping back on old
somebody on the police
medicine.
force might have thought to document some of this.
They don't carry for a murder or something. Then forensics would take a camera, but I don't that isn't like part of the tool set of a small town police.
No, but you think it's happening over several days.
I think it's understandable I think it's understandable that it wasn't.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So that's the story of Don Decker, DD.
Interesting. That wasn't the one I was thinking of, actually.
No, I didn't. Petered out a little bit into demonic possession at the end there, but hey, still.
Some people love that.
Yeah,
there's a new Omen film out and everything.
Really?
Yeah, it's like Omen Origins.
Resold.
And
I think wasn't that the Omen?
No, it's the Origins of the Omen.
What, the devil?
No, Origins.
Oh, okay.
How he became the devil. No.
Again, that's literally the original movie. But anyway.
No, so it's based in like Salem witch trial time.
Oh, okay.
And they, from what I could see on the advert for it, I think the clergy decide to summon the Omen to get people more pious. I think
it backfires.
I think it does backfire, Neil, as so often these false flag operations do.
Oh, if only they thought that one through. Yeah, it was. Oh god, there's a lot of terrible horror movies out at the moment.
Yeah,
I saw one. There's one. It was on the side of a bus. It was. I can't remember what it's called, but basically, it's another one where they're attempting to make like a haunted teddy bear look scary. But anyway,
lovely stuff. So Neil, let's go to our scoring system. Yeah. So spookiness.
Yeah, this would be quite spooky. I mean, you're in someone's house and it suddenly starts raining and they start. I mean, devil possession. I think that is quite spooky. I mean, he doesn't do anything other than sort of burning crosses and stuff, and how they jumped immediately to possession by the devil. But I suppose you know,
burning cross, isn't it?
Yeah. Then why do you think to sort of get out a cross and start, trying to?
Because they're God-fearing people.
Yeah, and hey, do you know what? It worked.
Yeah, so maybe...
And hypothesis, they tested it and it worked. So that's put me back in my place.
That's science, isn't it?
Fair play to you.
That's science.
Noble residents of the town.
That is the perfect synergy of science and faith.
Effect. Right, so, yeah, I'm going to give it... and you're like an ordinary person. Horrible, he's been abused by a grandfather, go there and then starts manifesting all of this stuff. And then you get possessed by Satan. I'm going to give it an A. It's very, very spooky.
Yeah, I think it's pretty spooky. I don't know, it's spooky for the people around him. I think it's like when he gets angry and starts floating and all that kind of stuff, and everything starts rattling. That would shit you up, wouldn't it?
Well, it's like that Freddy Krueger in that first one where he suddenly starts, people start getting tossed around the room. It's kind of like a big sort of scary scene.
Did they play like really fun circus music when that's happening?
I forget that's from, but something like that.
So I think, he doesn't seem that spooked about it, and he realises he can control it and stuff.
At what cost?
Well, not much. Not much cost, apparently. I think I'd be a bit annoyed with having the powers taken away, and probably spend the rest of my life trying to regain them. So I think probably I'll give it an 8 as well now. So, believability. Well, now then, that's the interesting one, isn't it? Because I naturally am slightly skeptical towards demonic possession. But of all the ones I've heard of, assuming that these witness statements and stuff aren't just made up.
Yeah, which I guess we have to assume.
We will work on that assumption. Then it's probably the best. It's probably like the most not concerning, but it's the most kind of intriguing, right?
Because on the surface, there's little to explain.
Like with the Enfield poltergeist ones, like you can pretty much explain all that away very easily, right? Which is surprising that one's more famous than this one, I guess. But yeah, the people involved definitely believed it, and there's a lot of witnesses and stuff. It's going to lose some points for me because I don't believe in the sort of pantheon of heaven and hell and stuff. But I just sort of think if there were malign forces, we'd see a bit more of them. But I'm going to give it an 8.
Don't we see it every day, Chris? Don't we see it every day?
No, it's just prick humans.
Yeah.
So I'm giving it an 8.
Fair enough. I believe it. Yeah, no, I think. I don't believe it happened, but I can't explain. I can't explain it. You can explain anything, can't you? They could have all been in on it. But the fact that there's so many of them,
the police and the warden,
that's pretty. So yeah, it's very odd. And there's. I'm deliberately not going to research it for this podcast, but yeah, it is mysterious. So yeah, I'm going to have to give it a slight bit more skepticism, but yeah, you can't really explain it. So I'll give it a 7. It's it does seem like they'll put into it. Yeah, don't know. I don't know. Well, it's been documented.
Yeah,
to the extent you've got witness statements, at least I take the point of the person saying there is no camera evidence or any of the rest of it. But
can't have everything, can you?
No, but there is, multiple apparently credible witness statements. So,
yeah. So, Neil, narrative premise.
Yeah, I think. The fact that it all sort of peters out, but as we know, there's plenty of movies you can do. And it's kind of sad that it ended up in demonic possession. I think it would have been interesting to see if something else happens. But yeah, you've got, he's living out some trauma. That's not, that's really, really sad. You kind of. Yeah, there's something quite. I think it'd make quite an interesting film or something. Yeah, I think it's quite a lot to this. There's there's real. He's had a very traumatic background. He's then sort of like I don't know. Maybe it's making him have really evil thoughts, and he's opening his heart to the devil or something. I really don't know what they're trying to say here, but they didn't get into explanations, which is good. So yeah, I think I think there's the makings of a reasonably strong story. I'm going to give it a 7.
7. Yeah, so I think of the possession-based oeuvre, it's pretty well-rounded comparatively. Like, there's a lot of kind of physical stuff going on, like you look at his background and stuff, but also like prison and all of that jazz.
They've worked on the characters, Chris. That's what's good.
They work,
good naming and good characters.
Good naming, good character. It isn't just a little girl doing a gruff voice. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I think. It's not a long old tale, but it's got something to it. It feels solid, which so often these things don't feel. So I'm going to give it an 8 for that.
Nice.
And Reach. So this is going to be the low one, I think, because I don't know how well known this is compared to other possession-based things like Amityville or Like, do you know what I mean? Like
nowhere near that level.
No, and this seems actually
everyone's
like
heard of Amityville.
Yeah, and everyone's heard.
Everyone, but
a lot of people have heard of the whatchamacallit. So yeah, it's not
the Enfield haunting. On the big films made about them, so you know.
Yeah, so but people haven't really heard of this, I don't think, and yeah, I don't know why really, probably because the Warrens didn't get involved, right?
Yeah, and I think they were very good self-publicists by all accounts, and I think as well because it all seems to sort of peter out fairly. It's kind of got a positive thing at the end.
But it all peters out with Enfields and...
Yeah, I suppose it does, doesn't it, at the end of the day?
No kids involved, maybe, that's why.
I suppose there was in Amityville, wasn't there, because they murdered kids. But
well, and there's no, parenticide, I guess. Well, I mean, no one dies, right? No one dies.
Well, they didn't in the Enfield one either, I don't think.
They had little kids and people.
But that was a peril. I mean, this is the bit...
So maybe it just didn't tick those boxes, but I think it's a more interesting story, and it certainly seems like it's more mysterious than the others. So, but yeah, hasn't got a great reach, I don't think. So but I'm sure people kind of know about it, maybe in America, but I've certainly not really heard of it.
This,
I would imagine so with our listenership.
I would certainly. I'm almost guaranteeing. I would have thought.
So I'm sadly going to have to give it a 3.
Yeah.
Now.
Come a 9 after we're done. Yeah, I think you're right. I think I've never heard of this. I mean, it's on websites and stuff, so it's not completely unknown. But I've never heard of it. I don't know that there's any kind of movies or books have been written about it. So I'm going to give it a 3.
3 as well. So that gives us an overall score, pretty good, 52.
It's a fun little story. It wasn't as fun as I thought it might be. I know it was going to be a bit crazy.
It's different to how I thought, but not in a bad way.
No, you know what? It's fair enough.
Because it's interesting to hear a story around possession-y stuff that actually you go, oh, that is actually interesting. It's not just they've taken a picture of some kids bouncing on their beds. Do you know what I mean? But it's got something to it. So
and it's genuinely inexplicable phenomenon. It's suddenly started raining inside. I mean, you can believe what the witnesses tell you or not.
Well, this is the thing as well. It's not going down that same route that they all do. Someone going,
Then there was a rattling noise,
and the door kept banging.
Yeah,
and it's something different.
What's happened there is we failed to secure the doors, and in high winds they will.
Yes, the lintel in the house wasn't set correctly. I can see that. Yeah, it was very, very easy. You want to get that looked at because that's a load-bearing wall.
Well, what you've done in this Roanoke scenario is you've suspended a pipe with holes in it. Clearly, that's going to lead to indoor or weather manifestation.
Where are we? Enfield? Yes. Well, that's primarily a southwesterly is the normal wind here. So yes, that would start banging against the window. Yeah, I liked it, and I'll tell you what as well, and I'm sure the listeners would agree. Neil, I felt you read that beautifully. You gave it some real gusto today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's good.
Getting back into my groove after 3 years. After the interest I showed for the first couple of episodes, it's starting to.
I mean, if you listen back, you didn't show a lot of interest.
No, it's bored from day one.
Cool. Well, that's it for this week, everyone. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and got a humdinger next week, which
I look forward to. Another one I have no idea about, and I want to wade into it.
It's got Catholicism,
unsullied.
It's got time travel. It's got a friar with a background in physics. That's all I'm going to say. So
I look forward to it.
We'll be back this time next week. Get in contact how you want. I'm not looking at social media at the moment, so email's the best.
Neither should you, gentle listener. Avoid it for a while.
But you know what? I'm feeling a lot better, and my attention span's improved, so it's quite good.
Yeah. Win-win.
Yeah, cool. All right, everyone. See you soon. Take care. Love you. Bye.
Goodbye.
It's an urban legend. Oh, yeah. I like girls, you Greg. Oh, I'd give them my best. White and white, please, John. Right, Steve, you so rag. You owe me a mug.